Hi, in my last video, I talked about some aspects of the car design process while sketching and rendering a side view. You are very welcome to watch that video. I will leave a link in the description. This time around, I'll make some sketches and a render of the 3/4 front perspective, following the design theme and character set by the side view. On the left side of your screen, you have an overview of the content of this video, where you can follow the progress as we move along. At the end, I'll do something new for me, a review and some corrections to a subscriber's sketch, a part I had lots of fun with. Alright, 3/4 front. This perspective gives the most information about your design in one picture, since you see the front and the side view at the same time. And because it's a three-dimensional view, our brains just enjoy it more to look at compared to the plane views. And of course, we perceive the front end of a car as its face, and faces are very important to us, evolutionary speaking. Being able to read faces is a crucial skill for our successful interaction with people around us. Understanding whether they are happy or sad, and all the finest and most complex emotions in between, all the information we are getting from the faces. In fact, this skill is so critical to us that the human brain has a special part that's exclusively dedicated to just that, observing and reading faces. So in my case here, I went for a very aggressive and pointy front end, really loaded with energy, mainly achieved with very slim and sharp headlights that are tilted a bit down to the center to get that pushy character, and develop tasks from the bottom, give the front end its final predator look. I'm happy with this result for now, and I'll stick to this proposal to make a render. But I will do 2 additional variations just to explore my front end more. This one is less aggressive, and instead of having a single strip, I separated my headlights to integrate them by architecture as well as by color into the air intakes. Muscular surface landscape combined with a simple yet strong graphic. The last variation, the unified air intake area, lets the nose part appear to be levitating and helps visually to get that wide, planted look. Alright, let's get to the render. I'll take my first sketch as an underlay and define most of the lines again. At this point, I have to say that working on a real task, designers don't go through this stage as thoroughly as I am showing it here. You can make a really rough doodle, then just go ahead and make a nice Photoshop render from it, making all the needed corrections along the way without any clear separation of your steps. Or you can go from a single sketch directly in 3D, that works as well, provided you have all the needed experience, of course. Your workflow can vary a lot depending on the company you're working for, the requirements of your concrete project, your skills, time schedule, and so on. And since I consider this part of my content semi-educational, I'm trying to be as consequent and transparent as possible, given the length of the video. So what I'm doing here, after having my line work done, I start with the darkest parts of my render, meaning the light strip, all the air intakes, wheel arches, black or dark plastic parts, and so on. That will help me later on to see and decide how much contrast and detail separation I want to have in my final shot. Now I start applying shaders. First I cover large surfaces so I can better see my main volumes, using this neutral shader as a base for all upcoming darker areas and highlights. Once I'm finished with all the surfaces relevant to my design, I can tweak different areas to make the shadow and light play stronger or softer, depending on which parts of my render I want to emphasize. It's similar to the previous step, but on another level of resolution and attention to details. Makes sense, right? The further down the way we move, the more specific we get. And of course, at the very end, some small details and reflections to make your work that extra notch more vivid and alive. Here's the final result. Now to my first subscribers sketch review. In my last video, I asked those of you who are interested to send me some of your sketches for a review, and I've received several. And for my first review, I decided to go with this one. A subscriber named Luis or Louis, sorry if I misspelled your name, asking to fix his sketch. So first of all, you have a really cool sketch there. I really do appreciate the effort you've made with these 4 views all true to each other. Really cool. You haven't provided much information though, so I think I'll have to do some guesswork here. From what I'm seeing here, I would assume that it's not just a supercar but rather a race car. Especially the front and top views make me think about Le Mans prototypes. And in terms of brand, because of the shape of the headlights, I have to think about Porsche. And those 4 dot lights inside of each headlight, which is part of the current Porsche design DNA, solidifies my assumption. So I'll go with that. After making the wheels smaller and the wheelbase longer, the first thing I would change is the shape of the roof by pushing its peak towards the front. That makes sense from both technical and aesthetic points of view. You don't want to have something really symmetrical on your side view, otherwise it gets very static. Then the fenders. Because I've made the wheels smaller, I now have more meat on them, means actual volumes I can give some shape to. And please don't forget that every car needs an actual front end. If my assumption is correct and it's a Le Mans race car, then I think you've been a little too shy with your rear spoiler. Yes, they used to be like that, but modern race cars have such complicated aerodynamics that rear spoilers are huge and complex parts now, deeply integrated into the main body. So I'm going big here. And I also have a much smaller door opening. With cars like this, getting comfortably in and out is not a top priority. Small doors mean better safety, higher rigidity, and more freedom for engineers to make a car faster. I would also encourage you to show the tires and rims, even just a little bit. It really makes a difference. Now to the front. Here I will change almost nothing. All I'll do is basically make the cabin more narrow, make the rear spoiler bigger again, and add some graphics inside the headlights just to spice them up. Also, in views like this one that are basically flat, if you show the rear fenders, you immediately will get so much more depth. It's really easy to do and has a big positive impact on your sketch. Please notice I did the same with the side view. So again, I didn't do much really, and most of the things you already had in your sketch. I just corrected some volumes and cleaned up your lines. And that would be my last point. Try to avoid lots of short strokes and pull longer lines. Make it consciously even if it might feel awkward in the beginning. And over time you'll get a much more confident hand. I really hope it was helpful, so keep it up. Here again is the list of all changes I made. If you'd like to feature your sketch in one of my upcoming videos for a review, you can either DM me on Instagram or reach me via email that you'll find in the description. In my next video, I'll be doing a review, going through the same process as today with the front. Consider subscribing to not miss on that one. If you liked what you saw in this video, hit that like button, it helps a lot. See you next time, have a great time.